Alan. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caitlin Beare, and I'm a fourth-year doctoral candidate in the School of Music. My research has largely stemmed from my experience as a performer and my desire to help prepare student clarinetists for the complex, exciting world of contemporary classical music. What was the last piece of music you heard that redefined your perception of what an instrument could do? As a clarinetist, I frequently contend with techniques that are contrary to what I was taught or were never addressed at all. These experiences have not only encouraged me to redefine my approaches to performance, they have also exposed a need for accessible pedagogical materials to prepare student clarinetists for advanced repertoire involving new techniques. To meet this need, I've composed 80 exercises covering 3 prominent techniques found in contemporary classical music. We'll examine one of these techniques in greater detail to understand how teachers and students can use my materials in preparation for more advanced studies. Many contemporary compositions exploit air and the breath in unusual and creative ways, requiring clarinetists to expand their methods of sound production. I define an air sound as a technique that uses the breath alone or in combination with a degree of pitch. Despite their prevalence in the literature, air sounds are often overlooked in clarinet pedagogy. My materials aim to familiarize performers with notation, terminology, and production and practice strategies for a variety of air sounds on the clarinet. When exploring air sounds as a compositional element, it is helpful to first consider what we perceive as a traditional sound on the clarinet. Clarinetists generally strive to produce a pure, focused tone and carefully control the amount of air in the sound. The first study in my set of materials encourages performers to recalibrate the balance between tone and air. In this first example, listen for the change in gradation between tone and air in each repetition of the study. So you might be wondering how techniques such as these are represented on a page of music. Performers are generally familiar with notation used in most compositions, but in some 20th and 21st century works, performers may encounter unconventional notation methods, such as symbols, to represent new techniques. On the left, you see a standard note head, and on the right, an unconventional note head, one that might be used in more contemporary compositions. And here are examples of symbols that composers commonly use for air sounds. These symbols represent 2 subcategories of air sounds, inhale and exhale. So how are these sounds used in the repertoire? In the 1960s, German composer Helmut Lachenmann was one of the first to use air sounds as compositional elements. His work for solo clarinet dal niente focuses on the extremes and energy of sound production. In dal niente, Lachenmann uses a distinctive subcategory of air sound called the lip smack, produced by creating a suction at the top of the instrument. The next example shows one of my studies that implements lip smacks, inhales, and exhales. In the next 2 examples, listen to how Lachenmann uses the same techniques, lip smacks, inhales, and exhales, in his work for clarinet dal niente. These examples highlight just a few ways that air can be used as a means of musical expression. My materials allow performers to practice air sounds in isolation from other demands and provide the foundation that performers need to tackle contemporary music confidently and successfully. Thank you.